恩を仇で返されれば、腹渡が煮えくり返るのも無理はない。だがな、よく聞きなさい。その怒り、その恨み、その許せないという思いを抱えたままでは、あんたの人生、ここから先は地獄のままだぞ。相手を呪い殺す前に、あんた自身の魂が腐り落ちてしまう。いいか、今日、わしがその地獄の釜の蓋を閉じてやる。まず、はっきりと言っておくことがある。あんたが許せないと思っているその相手、そいつの正体を、わしが解き明かしてやろう。あんたはそいつを、自分を苦しめる強大な悪魔か何かのように思っているかもしれないが、とんでもない間違いだ。わしから見れば、人を騙したり、傷つけたり、恩を忘れたりするような人間は、魂が縮こまって、どうしようもなく貧しい、憐れむべき存在によぎんのだ。いいか、世の中には、人の皮を被ってはいるが、その中身はガキや畜生と変わらん連中が5万といる。彼らは常に何かに飢えている。金に飢え、承認に飢え、愛に飢え、その飢えを満たすために、手当たり次第に他人を食い物にする。彼らには、自分という確固たる芯がないのだ。だから、他人のものを奪うことでしか、自分の存在を確かめられない。あんたは、そんな空っぽの入れ物に、自分の貴重な時間と感情をつぎ込んでいるのだぞ。バカバカしいと思わんか。例えば、野良犬に噛まれたとしよう。あんたは、その野良犬を追いかけ回して、なぜ噛んだんだ。謝れ。反省しろと説教をするか。そんなことはせんはずだ。噛まれた傷の手当てをして、あとはその犬には近づかないようにするだけだ。人間関係もこれと同じだ。世の中には、魂のレベルで、まだ理性が育っていない、本能のままに噛みつく人間がいるのだ。そいつに向かって、誠意が通じないとか、話せばわかるとか、期待するだけ無駄というものだ。相手は人間界の言葉を話すふりをしているが、魂の次元が違うのだから、言葉が通じるわけがない。あんたが苦しいのは、相手を自分と同じまともな人間だと思っているからだ。だから、なぜあんなことができるのかと理解に苦しむのだ。違う。相手は、今の時点では、そういう浅ましい生き方しかできない。魂の未熟児なのだと思いなさい。怒るのではなく、ただ、観察するのだ。ああ、この人は、こういう業を背負って生きているのかと、一歩引いて、冷めた目で見ればいい。では、具体的にどうすればいいのか。ここからが肝心だ。あんたがすべきことは、復讐でもなければ、無理やりの和解でもない。最大の解決策、それは捨てることだ。心の中で、その人間を完全に捨てるのだ。これをわしは捨ておくという。物理的に縁が切れるなら切ればいい。だが、仕事や親戚関係でどうしても顔を合わせなければならない場合もあるだろう。そういう時こそ、心の中で捨ておくのだ。相手が存在していても、あんたの心の中の風景には、そいつを一歩も入れないということだ。挨拶はする。事務的な会話はする。だが、あんたの魂の領域には、指一本触れさせない。まるで道端の石ころのように、ただそこにあるものとして扱うのだ。多くの人は、許そう、許そうと努力する。だが、無理に許す必要はない。嫌いなものは嫌いでいい。腹が立つなら腹を立ててもいい。だが、その感情を、いつまでも握りしめていてはいかん。握りしめているということは、あんたの手が塞がっているということだ。手が塞がっていては、新しい幸せをつかむことができんではないか。許せない相手のことを考えている時間、あんたは、その相手と一緒に暮らしているのと同じだ。寝ても覚めても、風呂に入っている時も、美味しい食事をしている時も、頭の片隅にその憎い相手が住み着いている。これは、あんたの大切な人生という宮殿の一室を、ただで貸してやっているようなものだぞ。そんな薄汚い人間に、家賃も取らずに部屋を貸すなんて、あんたはお人よしすぎるわ。今すぐ叩き出しなさい。考えそうになったら、おっと、いかんいかん。わしの宮殿にゴミを持ち込むところだったと言って、意識を別のことに向けなさい。これを何度も繰り返すのだ。これが心の修行であり、魂の掃除だ。あんたはこう思うかもしれん。でも、あいつがのうのうと生きているのが許せない自分だけが損をして、 相手が笑っているのが悔しいと、その気持ちは痛いほどわかる。だがな、心配するな。天の網は荒いようでいて、何一つ漏らすことはないのだ。これを因果応報というが、これは単なる道徳の話ではない。物理法則と同じ、宇宙の絶対的なルールだ。出したものは、必ず返ってくる。他人の毒を持った人間は、必ず自分もその毒を食らうことになる。人を欺いて得た金や地位など、砂上の楼閣だ。一時は栄えているように見えても、基礎が腐っているのだから、必ず崩れ落ちる時が来る。わしはそういう人間を山ほど見てきた。彼らの末路は、例外なく哀れなものだ。だから、あんたがわざわざ手を下して、罰を与えようとする必要はない。あんたが手を下せば、あんたも同じ泥沼に引きずり込まれることになる。そんなことは、天に任せておけばいいのだ。神様、この始末書はお任せしますと言って、放り投げてしまえばいい。あんたの仕事は、裁判官になることではない。あんた自身の人生を、花のように咲かせることだ。許せない人間に出会ったとき、それはあんたにとってのお試しでもあるのだ。天があんたに問いかけているのだ。そなたは、この程度の石ころにつまずいて、自分の人生を台無しにするのか、それとも、これを踏み台にして、さらに大きな人間になるのかと。理不尽な目に遭うことは、魂の筋肉を鍛える絶好の機会だ。泥水をかけられたら、その泥水では巣の花を咲かせてやればいい。悪口を言われたら、その風圧で風車を回して、電気を起こせばいい。転んでもただでは起きるな。その経験を、知恵に変え、強さに変えるのだ。あんなひどい目にあったおかげで、わしは人の痛みがわかるようになったあいつのおかげで、本当の友達が誰かわかったそう思えたとき、あんたの勝ちだ。相手は、あんたを成長させるための、嫌な役回りを演じてくれた、舞台の悪役に過ぎないのだ。いいか、人生において最も恐ろしいことは、金がなくなることでも、病気になることでもない。自分の心が、恨みやそねみで濁ってしまうことだ。心が濁れば、目つきが悪くなる。言葉が荒くなる。雰囲気が暗くなる。そうなれば、良い運気も、良い人も、潮が引くように去っていく。これが本当の地獄だ。逆に、どんなにひどい目にあっても、心だけはからりと晴れ渡らせて、ユーモアを持って笑い飛ばすことができれば、その人は無敵だ。明るい光には、虫も寄ってくるが、神様も寄ってくる。運というのは、楽しそうな場所、明るい場所に集まる習性があるのだ。だから、復讐したいなら、最高の方法を教えよう。それは、あんたが誰よりも幸せになることだ。あんたが毎日をゲラゲラと笑って、美味しいものを食べて、好きなことをして、豊かに暮らすことだ。それを見て、相手は一番悔しがるのだ。不幸な顔をして、恨み事を言っているうちは、相手の思うツボだ。ほれ見ろ、俺のせいで参っていると優越感を与えるだけだ。だが、あんたがケロリとして、以前よりも輝いていたらどうだ。相手は自分の無力さを思い知るだろう。これこそが、最高の、そして最も品のある復讐だ。わしは芸術が好きだ。絵を描き、歌を読み、茶碗をこねる。なぜこれをするかわかるか。それは、魂を遊ばせるためだ。何かに没頭し、美しいものを生み出しているとき、人の心は神の領域に近づく。そこには、恨みも憎しみも入り込む隙間がない。あんたにも、そういう時間を持ってほしい。許せない人間のことを考えるいとまがあったら、一輪の花を植えなさい。下手でもいいから絵を描きなさい。歌を歌いなさい。散歩をして、空の青さに感動しなさい。日常の些細な喜びを、丁寧に拾い集めるのだ。そうやって、自分の心を喜びで満タンにするのだ。コップの水がきれいで満たされていれば、そこに泥水が一滴落ちても、すぐに溢れて流れていく。だが、コップが空っぽだと、泥水はそこに溜まって腐っていく。あんたの心を、常に感動と感謝と喜びで満たしておきなさい。そうすれば、他人の悪意など、かほどの影響も与えられなくなる。人間関係で悩むのは、真面目な証拠だ。優しい証拠だ。だが、その真面目さを、自分を痛めつける刃物にしてはいけない。これからの人生は、もっとずぶとく生きなさい。 世の中には合わない人間というのがどうしても一定数存在する。それはパズルのピースが違うのだから仕方がない。無理にはめ込もうとすれば歪むだけだ。あなたはそういう形なのですね。ではさようならでいいのだ。来る者は拒まず、去る者は追わず。というが、わしに言わせれば去る者は追わず、来る者は選べだ。自分の心の平穏を乱すような人間をわざわざ招き入れる必要はない。心の扉にはしっかりとした門番を置きなさい。そしてここから先は愉快な人間、誠実な人間しか通しませんと断ればいいのだ。それは冷たさではない。自分の人生に対する責任だ。もう一度言うぞ。あんたの人生の主役はあんた自身だ。許せない相手はただのエキストラだ。エンドロールに名前も載らないような早くにいつまでスポットライトを当てているつもりだ。照明を消せ、舞台から下ろせ。そしてあんた自身に眩しいほどの光を当てるのだ。過去は変えられない。だがその過去をどう解釈するかは今のあんたの自由だ。あんな奴に会ってしまった不運な自分と思うか、あんな奴の正体を見抜いて縁を切った賢い自分と思うか、すべてはあんたの心一つで決まる。これを立て替えという。悪い因縁を良い因縁に立て替えるのだ。心が変われば世界が変わる。これは比喩ではない。本当のことだ。あんたが笑えば鏡の中の世界も笑うのだ。今日この瞬間からあんたは自由だ。重たい鎖は実は最初から鍵などかかっていなかったのだ。あんたが自分で握りしめていただけだ。さあ手を離せ。その手を広げて天を仰げ。大きく息を吸い込め。肺の底まで新しい空気を満たせ。吐く息とともに黒いモヤモヤを全部吐き出せ。許せないあいつのことは宇宙の塵として彼方の空へ飛ばしてしまえ。そして今日からは自分のためだけに生きるのだ。自分が心地よいと感じること、自分が笑顔になれること、それだけを選び取っていきなさい。あんたにはその権利がある。いや、そうする義務があるのだ。神様はあんたが眉間にシワを寄せて悩む姿など見たくない。あんたが腹の底から笑って命を輝かせて生きる姿を見たいのだ。人生は祭りだ。深刻になるな。深刻になっても事態は良くならん。それよりもこの理不尽で混沌としたしかし美しい世界を面白がってみせろ。さあ次はどんな手で来るとにやりと笑ってやるくらいの気概を持て。あんたの魂はあんたが思っているよりもずっと強い、ずっと大きい。たかが他人の悪意くらいで傷つくようなやわな作りはしていない。ダイヤモンドのように磨けば磨くほど輝くのだ。その苦しみは研磨剤に過ぎん。今あんたは磨かれている最中だ。だから顔を上げなさい。胸を張りなさい。そして堂々と歩き出しなさい。あんたの行く手には素晴らしい未来が待っている。わしが保証する。わしの話はまだ終わらんぞ。さあ膝を詰めてもっと近くへ寄りなさい。先ほど許せない人間は捨ておけと言ったが、あんたの心にはまだ納得しきれない檻のようなものが残っておるじゃろう。頭ではわかるが、どうしても腹の虫が収まらないあいつの顔を思い出すだけで心臓が早金を打つと。そうじゃろう。それは無理もない。あんたは真剣に生きてきたんじゃからな。だがな、ここから先はその腹の虫を鎮めるどころか、そのエネルギーを黄金に変えるさらに深い魂の錬金術を教えよう。いいか、よく聞きなさい。あんたが許せないと歯ぎしりしているその相手、そいつをよく観察してみたことがあるか。憎しみというフィルターを外してただの生物としてじっと観察するんじゃ。すると何が見えるか。そこにあるのは恐怖じゃ。人を攻撃する人間、人を騙す人間、傲慢に振る舞う人間、これらは例外なく心の奥底で怯えておる。自分が無価値であることがバレるのが怖いんじゃ。人から尊敬されないのが怖いんじゃ。だから必死になって虚勢を張り、他人を貶めることで相対的に自分の位置を上げようともがいておる。いわば溺れかけた人間が藁をもつかむ思いであんたの足にしがみついてきたようなものじゃ。あんたは その溺れる者の見苦しい姿に本気で腹を立てていることになる。哀れだと思わんか。彼らは自分で自分の機嫌を取ることができんのだ。他人の反応、他人の評価、他人の不幸、そういった外側の燃料をくべ続けないと自分の自我を保てない。なんと不自由で燃費の悪い生き方じゃろうか。それに引き換え、あんたはどうだ。あんたには良心がある。誠実さがある。自分で自分を律する力がある。魂の核が最初から違うんじゃ。核が違う相手と同じ土俵で相撲を取ろうとするから泥だらけになるんじゃ。あの人はわしとは違う種族の生き物なんじゃなと認めなさい。犬に論語を説いても無駄なように、魂の未熟なものに道理を説いても無駄じゃ。諦めなさい。その諦めは敗北ではない。明らかに極めるという意味での前向きな定感じゃ。さらに深く教えよう。あんたが誰かを憎んでいるとき、目に見えない世界では何が起きているか。あんたのへその下、丹田のあたりからどす黒いチューブが伸びて、相手のへその下とがっちりつながってしまっているんじゃ。これを念のパイプと呼ぶ。あんたが許せないと思って相手を睨むたびに、あんたの生命エネルギーはそのパイプを通って相手の肩へとドボドボ流れていく。逆に相手の持っている邪気やどす黒いカルマがそのパイプを通ってあんたの中に逆流してくる。これが同調じゃ。あんたは相手を攻撃しているつもりかもしれんが、実は自分の貴重な生気を相手に餌として与え、代わりに相手の猛毒を吸い込んでいるんじゃよ。だから憎めば憎むほど相手はなぜか元気になり、あんただけがやつれていく。理不尽じゃろう。こんな馬鹿げた取引は今すぐやめんか。そのパイプを断ち切る方法はただ一つ。関心を断つことじゃ。物理的に離れるだけでは不十分じゃ。心の中で相手に向けられている意識のスイッチをバチンと切るんじゃ。相手が何をしていようが何を言っていようが、へえ、その一言で流すんじゃ。風が吹いているな、雨が降っているな、それと同じレベルの自然現象として扱うのじゃ。相手の行動にいちいち意味を見出そうとするな。なぜあんなことをしたのかという分析もいらん。分析するということは相手を研究対象として大切に扱っているのと同じじゃ。研究する価値などない。ただの雑音じゃ。雑音に耳を傾けて音程がどうだのリズムがどうだのと批評する人間はおらんじゃろう。ただ窓を閉めればいいだけの話じゃ。それでもどうしても怒りが湧いてくるときはどうするか。その怒りを相手にぶつけるのではなく、自分自身の推進力に変えるんじゃ。怒りというのは実は純粋で強力なガソリンなんじゃよ。使い道を間違えなければとてつもないパワーを生む。その煮えたぎるような熱い塊を仕事にぶつけろ。創作にぶつけろ。肉体の鍛錬にぶつけろ。何くそ。今に見ておれ。わしはこんなところでは終わらんぞ。あの人間が地団打を踏んで悔しがるくらい圧倒的な高みへ行ってやる。そう叫んで猛烈に走るんじゃ。歴史上の偉人を見てみなさい。彼らの多くは屈辱や裏切りをバネにして偉業を成し遂げている。平和で満たされた環境からはなかなか強烈なエネルギーは生まれん。あんたが今抱えているその激しい怒りはあんたを成層圏まで押し上げるロケットエンジンの燃料なんじゃ。ただで燃料をもらったと思えばいい。ありがとうよ。おかげで目が覚めたわ。と言ってそのエネルギーを全部自分の夢の実現のためにもやし尽くせ。そしてな、もっと大きな視点を持つんじゃ。人生という壮大なドラマにおいてその許せない人間はあんたに許すという高度な課題を突きつけるために現れた嫌な役回りの教官かもしれんのじゃ。神様というのは時々とんでもない悪行を仕掛けてくる。あんたがどれだけ成長したか、どれだけ器が大きくなったかを試すためにわざわざ一番厄介な人間を送り込んでくることがある。さあ、この理不尽な状況をそなたはどう乗り越えるかねと空の上からニヤニヤしながら見ておるんじゃ。そこであいつが悪いと泣きわめいていては神様の期待外れじゃ。ほう、そうきましたか。面白い。この程度の試練笑って跳ね返してみせましょうと 不敵に笑い返すくらいの度胸を見せんか。あんたがその試練をユーモアと賢さで乗り越えたとき、神様は合格と言って次のステージへの扉を開けてくれる。そこには今までとは比べ物にならない素晴らしい出会いや幸運が待っておるんじゃ。いいか、復讐心というのは過去への執着じゃ。過去に縛られている人間は未来に向かって歩くことができん。後ろを向いて歩けば転ぶに決まっておる。あんたは未来を見るんじゃ。明日何を食べようか。来月どこへ行こうか。来年どんな自分になっていようか。ワクワクすることだけで頭の中を埋め尽くせ。人間の脳は一度に二つのことを考えることはできん。楽しいことを考えている間は憎い相手のことは消えているんじゃ。その時間を1分でも1秒でも長くする。それが勝利への唯一の道じゃ。もしどうしても直接対決しなければならない時が来たらどうするか。その時は決して感情的になるな。氷のように冷徹に淡々と事実だけを述べよ。怒鳴る必要はない。静かな声で理路整然とあなたのしたことはこういう理由で間違っていますと伝えるんじゃ。感情的になった時点であんたは相手と同じレベルに引きずり下ろされる。相手はあんたを怒らせて泥仕合に持ち込もうとしているんじゃ。その挑発に乗るな。どこまでも優雅に、どこまでも気高く振る舞え。高貴な魂の前では、卑しい魂は居心地が悪くなって、勝手に自滅していくものじゃ。これが戦わずして勝つ標法の極意じゃ。言葉の力、言霊についても教えておこう。あんたが口にする言葉は、すべて現実化への種まきじゃ。許せない不幸になれ。そんな言葉を吐くたびに、あんたは自分の未来の畑に毒草の種をまいていることになる。その毒草の実を食べるのは相手ではない。あんた自身なんじゃよ。逆に、わしは幸せになる。わしは運がいい。すべては良きことのために起きている。そうこうにすれば、あんたの畑には極上の果実が実る。相手のことを考えるときも、無理に褒める必要はないが、悪態をつくのはやめなさい。沈黙こそ金じゃ。どうしても何か言いたければ、お役目、ご苦労様でしたとだけ心の中でつぶやいて、バッサリと切り捨てるんじゃ。それが最強の結界となる。人生はな、椅子取りゲームではない。誰かを蹴落とさなければ自分が座れないような、そんなケチな世界ではないんじゃ。宇宙の豊かさは無限じゃ。あんたがどれだけ成功しようが、どれだけ幸せになろうが、誰の邪魔にもならん。だから、他人のことなど気にせず、貪欲に自分の幸せを追求しなさい。あんたが輝くことが世界への最大の貢献なんじゃ。あんたが暗い顔をしていては周りの人間も暗くなる。家族や友人を守りたければまずあんた自身が太陽のように明るく堂々としていなければならんのじゃ。あんなつまらん人間のためにあんたの笑顔を曇らせることは国家的な損失じゃぞ。さあ、顔を上げなさい。鏡を見てみなさい。そこには数々の苦難を乗り越えてきた強い人間の顔があるはずじゃ。あんたは弱い人間ではない。優しすぎて少し損をしてしまっただけじゃ。だがその優しさはあんたの宝じゃ。それを捨ててはいかん。ただその優しさを向ける相手をこれからは厳選しなさい。泥棒に家の鍵を渡す必要はない。大切な宝物は信頼できる仲間と何よりあんた自身のために使うんじゃ。
What fear is always, no exceptions, what fear is always indicating is that you're focused. You say, I don't know where it's coming from, but it's always in the moment about the subject that's on your mind. And what it always means is you have an opinion that is active right now. You've struck your tuning fork, so to speak, from something that you heard or something that you saw, something that you're thinking about, something that you're remembering, something that you're observing. It doesn't matter any of that. It only matters that you've struck the tuning fork, you're offering a frequency, and that frequency is out of alignment with the frequency of what you really know, what your inner being knows, what your inner being's opinion and perspective is about the same subject. So now we know that you've heard that from us on many occasions, and we know that you understand it. You said, I don't know where it's coming from because I was never like this. So let's just consider a little bit. A lot of people feel quite a lot of positive emotion because they are in an environment where the environment is demonstrating positive things to be observed. So when conditions are pleasing to you, it's not difficult to be pleased. The deliberate creation comes in when conditions that you may be remembering or noticing are not so pleasing, but you're able to calibrate, to focus, to be more deliberate about what you think about because you've practiced it, you've got some momentum going, the trend is there, so that you can bring yourself to good feeling thoughts anyway. That's what we call deliberate creation. So now we want to introduce into this specific conversation the difference between living a conditional love, which means I feel love, which means I'm in sync with my inner being. And it was easy to do because the conditions gave me something lovely or loving to observe. So it's nice that you feel love and loving as opposed to fear. But when you rely on conditions to be just right in order for you to feel it, now you can't go out into the world. Now you kind of have to hole up, as in our previous conversation, feeling guarded and afraid. Now, we think it is absolutely logical that with things happening around your world, COVID, lots of warnings about it, lots of shutdowns. So there is a less comfortable condition going on. Conditions that feel out of your control. Conditions that make it more necessary that you focus more deliberately. You can't just look around in a sort of default kind of attraction as you once could. Esther has been calibrating deliberately because their seminar schedule has now been established, and flights for Esther and her crew to arrive in these cities for these hotels have been set into place. And she's having some different thoughts than before. She didn't worry about flights being canceled. She often said, there are 10 to 15 of us traveling from city to city, year after year after year after year, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flights, and every single time we all got where we wanted to be. That was the story that she told. That was the story that she stuck to. That was the way that it was. But like you, today, that story is a little harder for her to tell because the circumstances or the conditions have changed. What does that mean? What does it mean when the conditions of your world make it more difficult for you to live conditional love? It means, good. Finally, you're going to learn to live unconditional love. You're going to find the vibration that sets your tuning fork or your point of attraction in a place that brings to you what you prefer. You're not going to offer one vibration and expect the universe to deliver to you something different than the vibration that you're offering. You chose this time of more contrast, more launching of more desires into your vortices, therefore more expansion, therefore more opportunity for satisfaction, because there's more opportunity to deliberately calibrate and align. If you've been listening to us for a while, you may have heard us say, we said it, have been saying it often, that quantum leaps, which is what so many of you think you want. I want a big jump. I want to jump into receiving millions of dollars a year or billions of dollars a year. Quantum leap. I want to go from this lifestyle to that lifestyle, and I want it to be sudden. And we've been teasing you, saying what you want is a big change in circumstances or conditions that you can then observe and feel better. But those quantum leaps are hard on you. They're very rare, and they rarely last, because practicing a vibrational frequency into a gradual understanding and maintenance of it is really what you came into this environment wanting to discover and to accomplish and to enjoy or feel satisfaction about. And so, is it easier to feel more fearful in these times where it seems that there's more upheaval? Even though there's not more upheaval, you certainly do have more access to the information about the upheaval. Even though there's not more upheaval, you certainly do have more information that makes you serve yourself well. If in times, moments, when you are not agitated by something, we're not fighting for your alignment, but it's coming more easily, such as during meditation or during making a list of positive aspects or in a rampage of appreciation. If you will practice feeling good as often as you can when it's easy, then you'll put yourself in some momentum or trending where it's easier for you. Esther still has knee-jerk responses to things every single day, but they don't last long because she doesn't want them to. Because like you, she understands her point of attraction. She gets it, that she is a walking around tuning fork that the law of attraction is responding to, and it's not ever going to be different from that. So it's not that you don't trust the world. It's that you don't trust yourself in the world. And you know what's at the basis of that? We're talking to all of you. You've been practicing unworthiness and then doubling down to explain it. You've been a part of a competitive environment that is so determined for there to always be a right and a wrong, and people who are sure they're right, which means they're sure you're wrong. And you all have been arguing and squabbling and debating to the point that you really believe that you must constantly be in a state of defensiveness in this world of upheaval. And that just is not true. The world can be in upheaval, but your point of attraction can be steady. But you have to know it, and you have to trust it, and you have to be willing to accept your worthiness enough that you love yourself in order to accomplish that shift in your common point of attraction. It's a big story, isn't it? How humans came to not trust each other, and in the process messed up their own point of attraction, so that the law of attraction brought them evidence that they had things to worry about. And when you understand that that's exactly and only how it works, observing a situation, not liking it, and maybe even having anticipated that it might come, and now you're so wanting to prove that you knew that was going to happen, that you double down on it now that it did happen, not having a clue that you're doubling down on it in your attempt to prove that you were right about anticipating it, has got your tuning fork vibrating in a way that the law of attraction is going to answer your vibration with things that match it. Did you hear that? In your unworthiness and therefore defensiveness in wanting to prove your rightness over wrongness, you hold yourself in a vibrational frequency of a defensive stance that attracts the very thing that you're trying to defend against. Those were a lot of perfect, vibrationally accurate words. We know that in many cases you heard it. We're never going to stop telling you this story about how the universe works, because you came knowing how it worked and wanting to do your work within it. You were worthy when you jumped in. It's time to reclaim that sense of worthiness that your inner being has never stopped offering as a vibrational frequency. So what is fear? What is the reason for that negative emotion? Your inner being knows you're solid, and when you look around and defend against not being, you deviate from the vibrational frequency of your inner being, and that's what the feeling of fear is. That's all. Deviation from who you were before you were born, who you still are, non-physically speaking, inner being speaking, who you still are, separating from the you in your vortex. Once you know that, don't beat up on yourself. Don't harass yourself when you feel fear. Don't be mean to yourself about it. Don't talk smack about yourself. I should be doing better. I should know better. Instead, lovingly acknowledge, my guidance system is working perfectly. Do your desires feel good to you when you think about them? That's a good thing, isn't it? That means you are not contradicting them with beliefs that are different. When you want it, but that desire is not as pleasant as when you want it and. I want this thing I cannot have. Doesn't feel so good, does it? You ever heard yourself say, I felt better before I knew I wanted that, since I don't believe I can have it? We want you to know that there is nothing that is off limits to you, and that if in fact your life experience has brought you to a place that you have identified a desire for something, it's well along the way. By the time you are verbalizing that you want it, a lot of momentum has already happened. A lot of important momentum that you, beautiful humans, in your human form, don't count usually. Because you don't account for the momentum of contrast that caused you to put it together vibrationally bit by bit. You often don't account for all of the momentum that happened even before you were fully realizing that you wanted it. So by the time you are verbalizing, I really want this, when that idea comes to you, that fresh idea that felt so good for a minute, before you killed it with your doubt, that exhilarating feeling of recognizing that you have a desire for something, the majority of the momentum and the attraction power has already taken place. And now the bringing it into your realization where you can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it, that's really the easy part. But so often you don't realize that because, dear hearts, you hold yourself in a holding pattern unnecessarily. You hold it away from you without meaning to, for one very simple reason. We're going to give it to you right here in the beginning. You want to know why? You don't often, always, often. You know why you sometimes, often, don't allow your desires to come to smooth and fast and easy fruition? It's because you're looking into the physical world where you want it to show up, and if it isn't there, then your awareness that it isn't there is what slows it down and keeps it from coming. Isn't that interesting? Because you get what you think about. So you want to ask yourself, am I thinking more about it being here, or am I noticing more that it isn't here yet? And you can sort of tell by the conversation that you hear coming out of yourself. Things like, I'll be glad when it gets here, or I'll be happy when such and such happens, then I will really be happy. And so if it's then, not now, think about it, then feel what's going on in your vibration. If it's later, not now. So sometimes you wonder when we talk like this, from our place of already knowing that it is, but you don't know that it is yet because you can't see it. So from your point of view, often it isn't. Well, which is it? Is it or isn't it? Because it can't be both. And if you think that it isn't yet, then your vibration is different than if you accept that it is. You see what we're getting at? Sometimes we ask you to feel happy about it in its evolving. And you want to say, okay, but I'll be happier when it gets here. And we say, that's a little tricky, isn't it? Because are you more absence of it aware or presence of it aware? And this is really what we want to talk about, because it exists and it does have a vibrational presence, even though you have not yet allowed yourself to see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it. Still, it exists. And so if you can feel it in its becoming rather than in its absence, it's sort of like, do you ever get in a car and take a trip somewhere? And for most of those many, many miles, you're not there yet. You're not there yet. But you're not driving along thinking about the absence of your destination, usually. You're usually in the moment aware of where you are, yes? And so we would like to see you realizing the existence of your desires before they have manifested. And if you can find a way to do that, then there are going to be two wonderful, predominant aspects to your life forevermore as you are here in this physical body. First is, many more of the things that you are wanting are going to be showing up faster. And next, you're going to be happy along the way, whether they're here quite yet or not. Have you ever had the experience of really looking forward to something? Maybe it's a vacation or a getting together with someone, an experience of some kind, usually. Really looking forward to it. And then it comes and goes and then you're depressed because you were so looking forward to it. Well, that's the state of being we would like you to be chronically in. The state of being of looking forward, looking forward, looking forward. Anticipation is such a wonderful emotion, because when you are in happy anticipation, that means you are not blocking the unfolding in any way. In fact, you are encouraging it. Better said, you are allowing it with your vibrational frequency. You're allowing it through your positive expectation. One of our favorite words that Esther finds to describe things that we mean to say is the word expectation, because expectation includes both a desire and a belief. So when you have positive expectation about something, then it is happily unfolding and you're happy all along the way. If you could find a way to be more expectant of the things that you want, that's the sweet spot of life. When you in your physical body are approaching a subject, the subject that is in your current now, and you are approaching it in the same way that your inner being is approaching it, that's when you feel bliss or eagerness. That's when you feel love and appreciation. That means you are on the same vibrational wavelength. But if your inner being is looking at what you're looking at differently than you're looking at it, for example, if you're really mad at someone and your inner being never is, then the negative emotion that you feel is your indicator that there are some conflicting vibrations going on. And that, in fact, is what resistance is. And you are the only one who can introduce resistance into your experience. And when you introduce resistance into your experience, you slow down who you are and what you want. It really is as simple as that. So the short version of this explanation of you, the creator of your own experience, is get happy and stay there, and good things will come to you. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. Go forth and ponder and practice. So when you realize that you can tell in every moment what you're doing, then you can begin to shift your vibration just a little bit. You know how when you're driving down the road, you drive? Esther loves driving. You're driving down the road And a lot of momentum has happened before this moment. In other words, the roadways have been paved usually, and there are lanes that are defined usually, and you have an efficient machine that you are driving usually. So as you're moving down the road, if you begin to drift off into the grass, usually you do something about correcting that. And the more alert you are, the more effective, efficient you are at it. So when you drive, you usually stay in your lane, don't you? And you usually don't drive over the top of the car in front of you. You usually don't try to occupy the same space with another vehicle at the same time. You've learned some of it, but you intuitively know how to place yourself as you're moving along. The other morning, Esther awakened. We should tell you what happened before that. She went to sleep before she awakened. We should tell you what happened before she went to sleep. She watched television. Dun, dun, dun. She was watching something to do with the political stuff. And then she thought, I can't take it anymore. And she turned it off. And she went to sleep in resistance, yes? But while she slept, her vibration cleared. That's what always happens. And then when she awakened, she was still in that clear place for a minute. And then she received a sort of disturbing phone call about something not very important, but important enough. Dun, dun, dun. And then she thought, ooh, this is the beginning of a new day. I'm going to take care of this right now. In other words, like correcting your driving, not off in the grass. So she brushed her teeth and sat to meditate. Meditated for 15 minutes. Came back into that clear space and stayed there for a little while until she checked her email. Dun, dun, dun. And then she says, oh no, not this. I'm going to focus with clarity. Now what we're getting at is, this is not so different than driving down the road, is it? In other words, you do something about it, because if you're driving down the road and you're not watching what you're doing, and you end up off in the grass, and you don't do something about bringing yourself back into your lane, and now something more happens, and something more happens, and something more happens, and something more happens, you could bring yourself to a lot of trouble. Momentum sort of happens that way, doesn't it? Here's another way of looking at it. If you're driving across a big wide roadway in a very effective car, and there's not much going on around you, you could be a little lackadaisical, sloppy in your driving just a little bit, couldn't you? Ever drive with your knees? Ever change places with someone else while you're driving? Sometimes you feel comfortable, and so you don't feel like you need to be so attentive to what's happening, because there isn't some momentum that's going to be to your disadvantage. But what if you're driving on a mountain road and there are sharp drop-offs? Don't you pay more attention to what you're doing? Are not some roads you drive on a little riskier than others? And some subjects you think about are a little riskier than others. Now, we're not saying avoid the subjects that might take you off in the grass. We're not saying that. We're saying when you're approaching those subjects, be clear about who you are. Because it's not what you do so much in a correcting sense that matters vibrationally. It's the preparation you have made in advance. It's how ready you are. It's how much you care about being in alignment. That really is the secret to the success of manage your own vibration. Do you acknowledge that you are the creator of your own reality? Have you come that far? And do you understand that law of attraction abounds and is responding to your output all of the time? And do you understand that what comes back to you is because of the output? In other words, what you're broadcasting and what you're receiving are the same thing. So it matters what you think, doesn't it? It matters a lot. Do you find yourself sometimes being a reactor to what's going on in your experience? It's interesting, isn't it, to be living in a world with so many others who are creating their own reality, because it is not the easiest thing to navigate in all of that vibrational current and maintain your own frequency unless you've practiced it a bit. And that's really what we're talking about in all of the hours that we are together with all of you. Many of you are here at your first seminar, but you are not new to these ideas. And it is our expectation that as we move forward together today, that the things that you will talk about, that you're wondering about, and the things that we have to say about it, and the things that others in the room will think about it as we're having the conversation, is going to move this conversation of personal creation into a whole new place of understanding for you. The most important thing that we want you to understand, and it's easier at sometimes to accept this than others, is that things are always working out for you. And the reason that we know that to be true is because we know who you are. We know who you were before you came into these bodies, and we know who this life has caused you to become. We see the vibrational version of you, the vibrational version that life has caused you to be, the vibrational version that you are now because you want to feel good, meaning to live up to. That's the part of you that we know best. But it does not mean that we are not aware and lovingly aware of where you stand in relationship to that evolved and expanded being. And if there is anything that we wish to convey to you in a way that you can really understand it, it's that you came into this body with great reason and purpose. And that purpose was for this joyful expansion. And that if in your physical body, right here and now, you're not allowing yourself to be that vibrational being that life has caused you to become, then you are less happy than you want to be. You are meant to feel exhilaration. You are meant to feel love. You are meant to feel passion. You are meant to be excited about life. You are meant to attract wonderful things and experiences and others into your life experience. Life is supposed to feel good to you. That was your plan. And if it isn't feeling good to you, just not now or maybe often, then something is amiss in your vibration. And we know for sure that it's a simple misunderstanding on your part. We know that you have diverged from the understanding of worthiness about yourself. And so that is our reason for playing with you in this way. We want to help you to feel who you really are. And we want you to stop beating up on yourself for anything that you have not yet figured out how to allow into your experience.